More questions this week from you at home, and today it's the turn of Section Leader Trumpet, Alan Thomas.
Hi Alan.
Hi Emmy.
Thanks for joining us. For those of you who don't know, this is my husband, but we are still being socially distant, just for,
Just to make sure.
Just to make sure. So, thank you very much for answering our audience's questions. Our first question is from Chris W on Twitter. What work do you particularly enjoy performing?
Work. I think over the years, my favourite work to perform is Alpine Symphony. I've done that numerous times, and it's just the most epic journey as a trumpet player, and it tests you out in every possible way. But it's one of the pieces you just come off stage just going.
From Chu Ying on Facebook.
Right.
Hello. What do you recommend to keep children engaged with music when there are no lessons, concerts and orchestras?
Oh, it's a really tricky one at the moment, isn't it? It's something I've found with my students as well. But I think the thing is to keep practicing, keep finding ways that stimulate you. So it could be lots of listening. One thing I do, and you've probably heard me doing it lots of times, is finding my favourite recordings and playing along to them. So I sort of feel like I'm part of it. So I ramp up the volume on the speaker, sometimes put YouTube on the telly and just sort of pretend I'm being part of it. So that's what I do.
So from Louise on Facebook. Hi Louise. What is more important, your mouthpiece or your trumpet?
Oh, that's a really tricky one. Yeah, I think I've been on the same mouthpiece for years and years and years, so probably that'd be the thing that keeps constant, and the trumpet has changed occasionally through damage, wear and tear, and being stolen.
Yeah.
So the mouthpiece is probably the one that I would keep on me at any time, rather than the trumpet.
From Chris P on Twitter. Hi Chris. If you had to make your instrument out of any other material than the usual brass and wood, what would you choose?
Cheese, I reckon.
A cheese trumpet?
Yeah, I reckon cheese, because it's obviously the best material there is.
Yeah, I imagine
Known to
being
man.
extremely resonant.
But yeah, other than that, I reckon that they have made them out of carbon fibre. So apparently that works very well, but it's very expensive.
Any sponsorship for carbon fibre trumpets?
Yeah, why not?
So from Mel on Facebook, if you could only have one piece of music, what would it be?
Oh, one piece of music, well, that's so hard,
Yeah.
so hard. Definitely not Sleigh Ride, because I've done that. Love Christmases. But I reckon, my goodness.
It's a tricky question.
I reckon I'm going to be sensible on this one. I reckon it has to be the Haydn Trumpet Concerto, because I think it changed everything for trumpet players as a force. We were struggling in that era. So for Haydn to write us our own concerto, that has to be that's really sensible.
It's a very diplomatic answer.
Yeah.
Well done. Yeah, also from Mel, what words of advice would you give to young musicians, or what do you wish someone had told you when you were little?
Not to worry about making mistakes, because that's something I always beat myself up about, or splitting notes or whatever. I think just going for it and really enjoying it, and just playing for expressing yourself, and then sort of ironing out the bits here and there come later, I think.
From Paulie on Facebook, how many hours do you practice and how often do you rehearse with the orchestra?
Oh, right, okay. So if I've got a day off, it depends how much we've been doing. It's all about listening to your body, minimum an hour, but anything up to 3 hours. I think at music college, I recommend my students to practice 3 hours. With the orchestra, a standard day tends to be 3 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the afternoon. We sometimes stretch it up to 6, don't we? But that seems
plenty.
about right. And I think 5's plenty.
Also from Paulie, what are your hobbies and sports to keep yourself fit and focused?
Hobbies. I think when you're a musician, it's really hard to join a club, because if you want to be committed, we work funny hours, we work weekends, so it's really hard to be part of that. So I think what I do to keep fit is tends to be individual sports like running and things like that, and I quite like the sort of military fitness type side of things as well. So that's what I use to keep fit.
So from Rachel on Facebook, what's the most fun concert you've ever done with the CVSO?
With the CVSO, it has to be a night at Burt Bacharach. That has to
So
be the
good.
most fun concert. We did a similar one recently.
Yeah.
It's one of the 60s that we repeated
Yeah.
some of those numbers recently, but I think playing all the Herb Alpert solos on the background numbers has to be one of the most enjoyable things.
That was brilliant. From Steve on Twitter, what's the single best piece of technical advice you've had, and who was it from?
Best piece of technical advice would be not to go on how your chops feel, because they often feel like bruised and they hurt, and when you put your mouthpiece on sometimes, but once you get going you forget about it. So not to have any negative connotations about how if your lips feel stiff or whatever. That would be the best thing I've had.
Great, brilliant. So you've got rehearsal in 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
So I'm going to let you
Yeah.
go.
I better go and warm up.
Yeah. Plenty of time.
Your famous 2-minute warm up.
Yeah. But thanks to everybody at home for your questions. Brilliant questions once again, and look out for another player coming soon.
See ya.
Bye. Great, go!